Hello, here is the news of this hour from Tstv. I am Fatima Onile. Here are some major headlines. Federal government declares June 12 public holiday to mark Democracy Day. Stricter punishment awaits rapists, says Oyo Speaker. Orji Kalu resumes on Senate, attends plenary. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed rejects transitional government to solve election impasse. Brazil withdraws 2023 Women's World Cup hosting bid. Now the news and details. The federal government of Nigeria has declared Friday, June 12, 2020 as public holiday to mark this year's Democracy Day celebration. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior Georgina Ihuria, in a statement issued in Abuja yesterday, said the declaration was made by the Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Ralph Aregbesola, on behalf of the federal government. The statement congratulated Nigerians at home and abroad for the entrenchment of democratic rule in the country and commended the heroes of democracy in the dogged determination and sacrifice which eventually bettered democracy governance in Nigeria. The minister reassured Nigerians of the federal government's commitment to battling the scourge of COVID-19 with the cooperation of all Nigerians and also advised them to take responsibility for stopping the spread of the virus. The federal government has as well said payment of hazard and inducement allowances to Nigerian health workers on the front line of the battle against the coronavirus pandemic would begin this week. It said the health workers will receive 2 months' pay for April and May before the close of work this Thursday. Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, broke the news in Abuja after a meeting with the leadership of health professionals. Ngige was accompanied at the meeting by the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Accountant General of the Federation, Idris Ahmed, and the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Oloronimbe Mamora. The health workers were represented by the leadership of the Nigerian Medical Association (NMA), National Association of Resident Doctors (NAD), and the Joint Health Sector Unions (JOHESO). It would be recalled that the government in April signed a memorandum of understanding with health professional associations and unions for health workers on the front line of the battle against the pandemic to get special incentives, including hazard allowances, insurance, and tax rebates. The Oyo State House of Assembly Speaker, Right Honorable Adeba Ogundoyin, yesterday said there would be stricter punishment for rapists. Ogundoyin gave the assurance while addressing the coalition of various youth groups which came to the state secretariat to protest against the various cases of rape in the country. The speaker, who stated the law on violence against women would be implemented to ensure stiffer penalties are given to rapists. The chairperson, Nigerian Youth Congress, Adebobola Agbeja, said the upsurge in rape cases and violence in Oyo State was becoming worrisome, adding that the life of every girl child is important, hence the need for the government at all levels to provide adequate security for the safety of women. Earlier, the National Association of Nigerian Students in NANS, led by its president Daniel Akpan, had protested against the raping and killings of women in the country. They organized a peaceful rally around the major markets and other parts of Ibadan before converging on the governor's office, Secretariat Agodi Ibadan. The chief whip of the Senate, Senator Orji Kalu, resumed normal legislative duties at the National Assembly complex today. The former governor of Abia State arrived at the Senate wing of the nation's parliament at exactly 9 o'clock a.m. He exchanged pleasantries with his colleagues and acknowledged greetings from legislative staff and security operatives. Speaking with journalists on arrival at the entrance to the Senate chamber, Kalu described his experience as a good one. He thanked God for everything that has happened and urged Nigerians to keep the hope alive. Kalu was released after over 6 months of incarceration at the Kuje Correctional Center. The senator and others were in December last year convicted and sentenced for 7.1 billion naira fraud. Justice Muhammad Idris, who was elevated to the Court of Appeal bench, had returned to the Federal High Court in Lagos to complete the case, which started in 2007. However, the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision by the 7-member panel led by Justice Amina Orji on May 8th of this year, held that the Federal High Court in Lagos acted upon jurisdiction when it convicted Kalu, his firm, Slok Nigerian Limited, and a former director of finance in Abiy State, Jones Odeogo, in December last year. The verdict of the Apex Court was not categorical on whether Kalu should be released from prison or not, and his lawyers decided to approach a federal high court in Lagos for the interpretation of the judgment. The federal high court led Justice Muhammad Liman, before whom the applicant's motion was pending, however granted the prayer of the applicant and ordered the release of Kalu from the Kuje prison custody on Tuesday. The senator was invariably released on Wednesday by the authorities of the Kuje prison. Now to the foreign news. Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was ruled out forming a transitional government once his mandate expires in early October, brushing aside accusations that he was misused on the coronavirus epidemic and delayed posts to artificially extend his role. Africa's second most populous country, Ethiopia, was due to hold national elections in August that Abiy hoped would give him a mandate for wide-ranging political and economic reforms. But the election board announced in late March that it would be impossible to organize the polls on time because of the new coronavirus pandemic. That means elections will not happen before the lawmakers' mandate expire in October, a dilemma for which the constitution does not have a clear answer. Abiy, who was the winner of last year's Nobel Peace Prize, however said during a question and answer session with lawmakers that his political party, the Prosperity Party, was eager to face voters. The French government will provide 15 billion euros, equivalent to $16.9 billion, to support the country's aviation industry, which has been hammered by travel restrictions imposed to blunt the coronavirus pandemic. The finance minister, Bruno Le Maire, who made this known, declared a state of emergency to save the aeronautic industry so that it can be more competitive. The plan includes €1.5 billion to spur research on the future carbon-neutral plane. To the exciting world of sport, Brazil has withdrawn its bid to host the 2023 Women's World Cup. The Brazilian Football Confederation said the government did not consider it wise to offer financial guarantees in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Brazil will now support Colombia's proposal, which is up against Japan, and a joint bid from Australia and New Zealand to host the 32-team tournament. FIFA will vote to select the host on 25th June. The country has been badly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, with more than 35,000 deaths and an excess of 640,000 confirmed infections. But the latter number is believed to be much higher because of insufficient testing. With that, we've come to the end of the news. A recap of the headlines. Federal government declares June 12 public holiday to mark Democracy Day. Stricter punishment awaits rapists, Oyo Speaker. Orji Kalu resumes on Senate attends plenary. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed rejects transitional government to solve election impasse. Brazil withdraws 2023 Women's World Cup hosting bid. As the world eases out of lockdown, kindly ensure to take all advice and precautions as given by health workers. The news was compiled by Ola Abiola. I am Fatima Onile. Good day and thank you for watching.